Welcome to a very special episode of RAPodcast. Know your hosts. I am Bendy, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Draco and Shoot. In this three-part mini-series, the three of us will be conducting interviews, asking each other a series of questions in order to get to know one another better. For today's episode, I'm in the hot seat, and I'll be answering questions that have been constructed by my co-hosts. If you guys are ready, let's get started.
All right. So, Bendy, why is your favorite character Yoshi, and what is your fascination with him? Tell us about that.
How did I know this was going to be the first question? So, Yoshi is like the pinnacle of character design. You look at him and you're just like, wow, that character is so cute and adorable. I want to be friends with him. I think that my introduction to Yoshi was in Mario Kart 64. You know, you had 8 characters to choose from, and I always picked Yoshi. He was always my favorite. And I feel like for me, it's not even that I love Yoshi games. Like, Yoshi games are good, but they're not my favorite games or anything. It's Yoshi, the character, that I love so much. I love the character. He's adorable. He's great. He makes me smile. He's so happy. What's not to like, man? What's not to like about good old Yoshi?
Okay, the only thing I will say is I like Yoshi only on Mario Kart 64. But my question is, how did you discover RA?
So, I actually have a bit of a funny story there. Uh, I was I was I was really bored one day, right? And I was thinking to myself, I really like retro games. I want to go back and replay some of my childhood classics. And I got this idea. I wonder if there's a forum or something out there, like a forum where people write up video game challenges, like little challenges you could go for in retro games. So I kid you not, literally Googled the words retro achievements, expecting to find like a forum where people make up achievement style challenges for games. And then I found this whole community and I got so much more than I bargained for. And I was like, what the heck? This is the best thing ever. How did I not know about this? So I randomly Googled retro achievements thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could get achievements in retro games? Turns out, yeah, you actually can.
All right. What is the hardest achievement that you've done on Retro Achievements? And what's the hardest set that you've done on Retro Achievements?
Ooh, okay. That's a tough one. I think the hardest achievement, the first one that comes to mind for me is the Deathless Super Mario Brothers 2 in Super Mario All Stars. It's just, it's Mario 2. You have to beat the whole game without dying, which doesn't sound. Wait, what am I talking about? No, I take that back. The shell jump and learn to Kaizo. The shell jump and learn to Kaizo, guys. That was so hard. What am I talking about? Mario 2. No, the shell jump for sure. Hardest set. Probably Super Mario 64, just because there are so many achievements in that set where I looked at the achievement and I thought to myself, I can't do that. That's crazy hard. And then I just kept knocking them out one after another. So when I finally mastered Mario 64, that was crazy satisfying. I was so happy when I pulled that off.
I'm very curious to see how did you come up with your name, Bendy Human?
How did I come up with my name? Interesting. Okay, so I used to go by Ben the Human because Ben is, it's my name, Benjamin. That's my first name. And the Human because I don't know. I just liked how it sounded. It sounded cool. But one thing I didn't like about that name is because I felt like it wasn't very unique. I felt like I wanted a name that was more unique. Like sometimes I would sign up for a website and it would be like Ben the Human is taken because some other kid named Ben probably came up with it. So I was like, all right, I need something kind of unique. I need something that's me. I don't want to add random numbers to the end of my name. I mean, no offense to you when I say that, Draco, but I didn't want to have random numbers in my name to make my name unique. So I was like, Ben the Human, Ben the Human, Bendy Human, Bendy Human, Bendy Human. Hey, that sounds cool. Bendy Human, that sounds cool. So it was basically just, hey, it sounds cool. And I just rolled with it. And yeah.
Interesting. Okay. What was the hardest game that you played growing up, and have you beaten this game as an adult? And also, was it easier?
Ooh. hardest game I played growing up. That's a tough one. It definitely wasn't the hardest game I played growing up, but the first one that comes to mind is TMNT2 on the NES, the arcade game port, because that was one of those games that I played as a kid. And even though it's not necessarily the hardest game, it's the first one that comes to mind. It's a game I played again and again and again as a kid, but I was never able to beat the game. And then more recently on Retro Achievements, I was actually able to go back and beat the game. And doing that, I discovered this actually isn't that hard of a game. I actually casually beat it on like not my first try, but I think it was like my second or third try. I casually beat the game. So I guess it wasn't that hard after all. But as a kid, it was pretty hard as a kid.
Okay, okay. Where do you see yourself in a couple of years on RA?
Oh man. So right now, the main thing I've been focusing on RA is collecting badges. I know that every month we get those forum posts that show the top 300 users on RA and it categorizes them and all these different stats. And one of the stats that fascinates me is most hardcore badges earned. At the time of this recording, I'm actually ranked 15th in most hardcore badges earned, which is insane to me. So I guess in a couple years, maybe, I don't know, top 5 for badges, question mark? It seems doable, right? If I keep going for those, if I keep focusing on badges, I think it could happen. I don't see myself, I don't see myself being number one. I don't think I could pass Max. He has so many, but maybe top 5, maybe like top 3. I don't know, but I'm gonna keep going for badges and see what happens.
Any favorite hobbies or activities that you have outside of RA, Bendy? Outside of
Oh
retro
man,
achievements?
this is the question that makes me sound boring because all I do is play video games. No, honestly, I like RA. I love RA, but I also play games outside of RA. I have a Switch. I love Nintendo. I play a lot of modern games on that. Uh, I like watching YouTube. Sometimes when I'm playing a game, I'll just have like some random YouTube video playing on the side. Or I like watching Twitch streams as well. I don't really do much in the way of watching like television or anime or anything like that. I don't know. It's not really for me. But yeah.
What is your favorite type of games and why?
Favorite type of game? Uh, hmm. The first one that comes to mind is probably platformers. And I think it comes down to that's what I've been playing my entire life. Platformers are the genre that I definitely have the most experience with. I've been playing platformers ever since I was a kid. As soon as I could hold a controller, I was playing Mario on the old NES. And it's such a comfy genre. I love that I could pick up a platformer, even if it's one I've never played before, and I kind of know what I want to get. I know what I'm going to get out of it. There's something comforting about playing something you're familiar with, that you have that familiarity with. So definitely platformers for me.
What would you say is your ideal controller? And also, what type of controller do you currently use?
So currently, I have two different controllers I use. One for retro stuff and one for more modern stuff, or like 3D stuff, like N64 or PlayStation. So for 3D stuff, I use an Xbox One controller. And honestly, I would say that's probably also the answer to my ideal controller. The Xbox One controller, even though I've never owned an Xbox console, that controller is so solid. It's so comfortable. It does so much so right. Just overall fantastic controller. Great analog stick, great buttons, great triggers, great everything. The only thing I don't like about the Xbox One controller is the D-pad is like it's so low that it's awkward for me to use it for games where you use the D-pad. Like it's a good D-pad. I don't like to have my thumb that low on a controller. That's just a personal preference thing. So when I'm playing a game that uses the D-pad, I like prefer to use a different controller, one that's more styled for retro gaming. The controller I'm using these days is the Pokken controller by Hori. If you guys remember the game Pokken Tournament, the Pokemon fighting game, they had a controller that comes with it, and it's basically the layout of a Super Nintendo controller. But it's a really solid controller. It gets the job done pretty well. I like it a lot.
Wow, very interesting on that one, Bendy. I already know this answer, but do you have any rivals on RA?
Do I have any rivals on RA? So when I think about rivals on RA, I think about people who are close to my rank, right? And I'm in that awkward zone right now where most of my friends are either significantly higher rank or significantly lower rank. Although Shoot is catching up, so we might end up being rivals pretty soon here. But even my friends who aren't close to my rank, I like to look at their profiles. I like to see what they're playing. So even if they're not necessarily my rivals, they're kind of my rivals, if that makes sense. So I don't know.
What would you say is the weirdest or strangest achievement that you've done on Retro Achievements?
Oh man. I feel like I would have a good answer for this if I wasn't having to think of it on the spot. Okay, here's one. Here's one. Uh, Bubble wrap. There's a homebrew on the DS that is literally just it's a sheet of bubble wrap and you have to pop bubbles and that's the entire game. And I remember going for achievements in that set thinking, what am I doing with my life? But then I was like, I gotta get the badge. It's a free badge. I gotta have it. So that was definitely one of my stranger RA moments. I might have to come back to that one. I might have to come back to that question. I feel like I might have a better answer for that, but on the spot, that's the first one that comes to mind.
Wow, Benny, to be honest, I have no expression to say about that one. Um, do you prefer to play multiplayer or single player game?
So here's the thing, right? I enjoy playing with friends. I really like the experience of playing with friends. But when I talk about playing with friends, I'm talking about local multiplayer in the same room, surrounding a TV, that kind of local multiplayer. Online multiplayer, it's just not the same. It really doesn't do much for me. So for me, it would be like local multiplayer is the best, and then single players under that, and then online multiplayer is at the bottom. But the thing is, with RA, I get the experience of I get to play single player games, but I have the community aspect. So it's like even though they're single player games, it's still social. I'm still doing with things with friends. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, right? So I guess RA goes to the top of the list above everything.
What is your favorite type of food, Bendy, and why?
Oh, I got this one. French fries are the perfect food. I'm not talking chili cheese fries. I'm not talking fries with all this crazy stuff on them, but straight up fries, just regular fries. It's the perfect food. It doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need ketchup. It doesn't need any special sauce. It doesn't need anything crazy. You got potatoes fried to perfection, put some salt on them, and it's the perfect food. I don't know what more you can ask for.
I mean, for me, I love the poutine because I'm French, but yeah, fries, I love it. What is your current goal on Ori? I think you already said it, but
Yeah, so the current goal on RA is to focus on badges. I actually recently started an initiative for the month of August where I set a challenge to myself to try to get one badge per day because I know that I still have so many badges I could get that don't take a big time commitment to knock out. So that's what I'm working on right now. At the time of this recording, I'm 9 days into it, still going strong. So let's see if I could finish off the month. That'll be really exciting if I pull it off.
Do you have a favorite movie, Bendy, and if so, what is it?
Favorite movie? Uh, Favorite movie genre would definitely be comedies. I love to laugh. I think that my favorite movie is probably Airplane. I don't know if you guys have heard of that movie. It's with Leslie Nielsen, who is just fantastic in everything he does. But it's kind of a spoof of the disaster genre, and it's got such a goofy sense of humor, and it's got this super fast paced jokes per minute ratio that's just it's the kind of movie where every time you rewatch it, I notice some joke that went over my head last time. Like you always pick up on something new because that movie is just so densely packed with jokes. Yeah, Airplane. Definitely recommend it if you guys haven't seen it.
interesting. what are you most proud of that you accomplish on RA?
Most proud accomplishment on RA. I think a big one for me was breaking into the top 100 because I don't know. When I first started this, the goal was never to compete with other players and to get a high ranking. The goal was just to play my childhood games and have fun. But as I saw my ranking go up and up and up, I started to think to myself, top 100 would be a pretty cool goal. And I kept inching closer and closer to it, thinking it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to actually happen. And when I actually hit top 100, that was a moment for celebration. That was so dang exciting. So that was one of those things that I never thought I would pull off, and then I actually pulled it off, and it felt great, man. It felt really great.
What type of clothing is most comfortable for gaming for you, would you say?
What is this question? um, I guess just something really casual, just like loungewear, like throw on a shirt, some comfy like throw on some comfy pajama bottoms or something you can move around in. I mean, I don't know. You could play games in anything, but I guess comfort is number one. Just something comfy, something that's not. I don't know how to answer this. I really don't know what to say to this one. Something comfy, something cozy. That's my answer.
Okay, this one I'm very proud of what I have. I'm gonna do to you, but don't don't hate me. Are you willing to wear a Yoshi costume? If so, on which type of occasion?
Oh man. Um, I feel like the only occasion that would be socially acceptable was Halloween, which is like, yeah, I would totally do it. I remember when I was a kid, I went as a Mario one year. I got like a fake mustache and overalls and all that. Um, yeah, I'd be down to dress up as a Yoshi. I would need an excuse for it, right? I would also need to find a Yoshi costume that isn't prohibitively expensive, but I mean, I'm sure if the right. The thing is, I tend to be a naturally introverted kind of person. So I wouldn't want to draw attention to myself as like, hey, look at me. I'm the guy in a weird costume. But like, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Fair enough. Um, do you like to travel, Bendy? And have you ever been anywhere cool?
Uh, no. I mean, I do like to travel, but I haven't traveled much. I've lived in the same state my entire life. I've literally never been out of the state. And most of my memories of traveling are like when I was a kid going on family vacations. We'd go going to like theme parks or the coast or stuff like that. But I've never really like traveled far and done the legit travel thing. I'd like to someday. I don't really know where I would most like to go. I guess I'd have to go do some research and find what would be a good travel destination. But yeah, that's a good question. It's something I have limited experience with, but I would be interested in doing more of in the future, for sure.
You could always travel to your best friend Draco.
Oh, that's true.
what is the biggest hype moment you had with Ori?
Hype moment? Let's see. I feel like I'm biased because it just happened, and I don't want to keep referring back to it and giving the same answer for every question. But guys, the shell jump in Learn to Kaizo, the midair shell jump, I, I can't stop talking about it. That's just like at the forefront of my mind right now, and I can't get over it because I'm so dang excited that I actually pulled it off. I spent hours upon hours upon hours trying to do this single trick. So the hype when I pulled that off was just unparalleled. You can't even imagine. I was so happy.
No, I completely understand. I mean, I had an achievement last night I spent like 2 hours on, so we've definitely all been there. You probably spent more than that. But did you go to arcades growing up? And do you have a favorite arcade game?
So, unfortunately, I live in a pretty small town, so we didn't have much in the way of arcades. I did get to go play arcade games once in a while, but it would either be like when we're traveling or like on a special occasion or something. There wasn't just an arcade in my town that we could go to regularly. I do have a favorite arcade game though, for sure. The Simpsons arcade game, you know, the beat 'em up, the Simpsons beat 'em up on arcade. they had a machine for that game at one of the places I went to a few times, and I love that game. I think it's a really solid beat 'em up. It's a ton of fun. I definitely sunk a lot of quarters into it until my mom said, "Okay, that's enough. Well, let's go now." I feel kind of sorry for her. I don't know how many quarters we sunk into that machine, but yeah, it's that's one of my favorites for sure. That's a solid beat 'em up.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty amazing. What is your favorite console and why? Least favorite system and why?
All right, favorite and least favorite. So, choosing a favorite is actually pretty hard for me. The first one that comes to mind is Nintendo 64. And I feel like that's a weird answer because N64 is this console that's like it didn't have a ton of great games, but the few great games it did have were really really great. And honestly, it's probably just the nostalgia talking, but when I think of my childhood, I really strongly associate that with the Nintendo 64, and I have nothing but good things to say about that console. Least favorites? Hmm. I mean, I, I should probably limit it to consoles I've played, right? I don't want to say my least favorite is like the CDI. Like I've never played a CDI, right? Least favorite console. You guys remember those Tiger Electronic games? The little LCD screens where it's like one game built into the machine and they're like extremely shallow and terrible and you get them as a toy and you'd like play with it for 5 minutes and throw it away. That's technically a console, right? I'm going
Yep.
with that. I'm going with the Tiger
I never
games.
played that.
I grew up with the Tiger Electronics with the bad like LCDs. I definitely played a lot of those growing up, so I know exactly what he's talking about. Um, any old TV shows that you like or watched as a kid?
SpongeBob. Next question. No, I'm just kidding. I'll elaborate a little. Yeah, SpongeBob. I watched a lot of cartoons. I watched a lot of Nickelodeon. SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron were some of my favorites. Uh, and I don't know. I never really outgrew cartoons. Like I could still go back and watch the first few seasons of SpongeBob and just laugh like crazy. Like I think they're hilarious. I think that is truly timeless television.
Okay, okay. On your request list game, what is your top pick?
My top, let me actually pull up my request list. So right now my request list is a kind of a combination of two things. I have a few games that I have really fond memories of just playing as a kid, and then I have games that I've never played before that I really want to check out, mostly DS games. I think right now my most anticipated game on my request list is probably Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which I don't even know why there's a page for that on RA. There's not even any confirmation that we're getting GameCube, but for some reason there's a page for that on RA. So I was like, yeah, I'll throw out a set request. I mean, I've talked about this on the podcast and with you guys so many times before, but Paper Mario is one of my all time favorite series. The Thousand Year Door is just absolutely fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to what people do with achievements for that game. If people make achievements that have some creative challenges that make me play that game in ways I've never played it before, that would be awesome. Like that's how I felt when I played Paper Mario Master Quest is I was replaying one of my favorite games in ways that I've never played before. So that's definitely number one for me.
What would you say that your dream job is, Bendy, and why?
Oh man. I don't know, dude. I really don't know. So for a long time, I was pursuing teaching as a career. I thought that working in education was my dream job. And then I had some experience working in education, and I very quickly realized this is not my dream job. So right now I'm in this period of my life where I'm trying to figure out, all right, what's plan B? What's the dream? Or do I even go for a dream? Do I just settle for something? So I guess my answer to that question is right now that's something I'm trying to figure out for myself. I'm kind of going through a period of introspection, I guess you could call it. So hopefully I will have an answer to that question at some point, but right now I really don't know what to tell you, man.
I'm sure you will find something eventually in the future, Bendy, and I wish you luck for it.
Thank you.
What is the funniest childhood memory growing up relating to video games?
Funny childhood memories relating to video games. That is a very specific question. I think that I got one. I got one that comes to mind. So I was playing Mario Party with a few friends, and we had one friend in the group who he never really played to win. He always just kind of played to cause chaos, right? And we were playing Waluigi's Island in Mario Party 3. And the way there's this, so I don't know how much you guys know. I know Draco knows the map, but for
I
anyone
know a
listening,
lot.
yeah, for sure. But Waluigi's Island has this little separate island in the top left of the map, and every turn, every single space on this island will be the same space. So, like one turn, it'll be all red spaces. One turn, it'll be all Bowser spaces. One turn, it'll be all item spaces, for example. So anyway, we're playing Mario Party 3, and I'm absolutely destroying. I have a huge lead. I'm in first place. And then my friend who loves causing chaos, he decides to just spend the entire game hanging out on that little island in the corner. And then in the very last turn, I kid you not, this was the last turn of the match. Uh, I was in the lead. The island was all chance time spaces. He lands on chance time. He takes all of my stars. And I was just absolutely speechless. They were all cracking up. It was hilarious. And it was just this whole little moment that I'll never
That's
forget.
wonderful to hear that. I feel the same way when you spend your time into this little item tournament.
Yeah. That's why I did it. When we played Mario Party, I tried to replicate that strategy because I remembered he did it to me, and I thought maybe this is the only way I could beat Draco.
What was your best subject in school growing up and why?
So I've always been a math guy. Math was I just there was something about it that just it spoke to me. I was good at it. I found it satisfying. I love the satisfaction of when there's a hard problem and you don't know how to do it, and then you persevere and you find a solution, and that feeling of satisfaction when you finally figure it out. I always disliked how like subjects like history just kind of felt like memorization and regurgitation of facts. Subjects like English always just sort of felt like, well, it's kind of subjective. I think I wrote a good essay, but maybe my teacher doesn't think I wrote a good essay. But math was like, it was objective. There is an answer, there are multiple methods to get to the solution, and your job is to solve the problem. And that just appeals to my brain so much. When I went to college, I actually ended up majoring in math, and I finished. I got my bachelor's in math. So now I have a math degree and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I love math, but it's kind of hard to turn that into a career. So we'll see.
I do love math a lot also when I was a kid. So, how do you choose a game to play?
How do I choose a game to play? It kind of depends on my mood. Some days I'm in the mood to start a new game and try to knock out a badge in like one or two sessions, just like a fairly short game. Some days I try to play one of the games I have in progress. I usually don't start a new game unless I really want to play it. When I'm considering starting a new game, I usually look at my games in progress, and then if I decide I don't want to play any of these right now, then I'll look into starting a new game. But I found that because of that philosophy, it's been pretty good for my average game completion ratio. I finally managed to get above 90%, and that's kind of because I like to really focus on the games I have in progress. So, yeah,
Do you like candy, Bendy? And if so, what is your favorite candy and why?
I got this one. Candy is awesome. The best candy is Airheads. No question about it. I have memories of when my mom would go to the store when I was a kid. I'd always, I'd go with her and I'd help with the shopping, or maybe I just go with her because she don't want to leave me at home. But I remember she'd be like, "Okay, if you're good, you could get a candy," and I'd always pick out Airheads because it was my favorite. Um, I feel like there's two broad categories of candy, right? There's the there's the stuff like Skittles or Starburst, or there's the more gummy, fruity candies, and then there's the other end of the spectrum. There's the more chocolatey candies. There's like the M&Ms, the Crunch Bars, the Snickers, that kind of stuff. And I was always kind of more of a fan of the more fruity kind of candies. Like I like chocolate plenty, but yeah, Airheads, that's number one for me for sure. No
The
question about it.
the Airhead, is it the little like tongue thing, like which like you can have blue, green, and
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god, I love eating that shit.
yeah, they're great.
Okay. Have you ever given up on a set? Do you have plans to return to it?
I've definitely given up on sets before. In fact, I'm skimming through my profile right now. Let me see if I can find some good examples. And it sucks because when I end up in that situation where I have most of the achievements in a set and then there's just one or two achievements holding me back from the mastery, it really hurts, but it'd be like that sometimes. To give Pokemon hacks are some good examples. I've played a lot of Pokemon hacks, and Pokemon hacks always have that one achievement where it's complete the Pokedex, right? So I have a few Pokemon hacks in progress where I have everything but that one achievement. And it gets to the point where I ask myself, is it worth the time investment? And usually it depends on if the hack has good methods for grinding and how many Pokemon are in the Pokedex. Because there are some Pokemon hacks at RA with like nearly 400 Pokemon in the Pokedex, and that's just it's such a big time commitment for what, like a 50-point achievement, that in a lot of those cases I'll just give up on the set. I'll be like, yeah, I could do this if I put in the time, but is it really worth it? Probably not. I'd rather spend my time in other ways.
So I think I might have a wild guess on the answer to this one, but what do you care about the most on retro achievement? Rank, points, badges, and why?
Oh, definitely points. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's got to be badges, dude. It's like I said, I'm a completionist, right? When I play games, even when I was a kid, when I play games, I like to complete everything in the game. And that's what a badge represents to me. A badge is this icon that says, hey, you completed everything in this game. And there's just something so satisfying to that. I love the feeling of having a massive wall of badges on my profile. Even if people give me a hard time that I play a lot of easy games or whatever, I don't care. I love collecting badges. It's my jam.
But even just for a fact, just bring it on. Before that, before like your goal of this month, because collecting all the badges, is like, is it still the badges? Because before that goal, maybe it would be different.
Yeah, even outside of this month, badges were still the main focus. For a while, I was focused on my average completion ratio, so I wasn't really going for badges for a while I was more focused on playing games in progress and trying to get that up. But I would say in general, badges are the focus. It's just that sometimes I'm not in the mood to knock out badges. Sometimes I'm in the mood to play a childhood game, or like for example, I recently played Phoenix Wright. That's not exactly a short game, and it's not exactly efficient for points, but I played through it again because it was it's a game that I love and I really wanted the badge, so that was worth the time investment for me because I really enjoyed playing through the story again. So yeah.
Okay. Do you plan? Do you play any modern games? If so, what game?
Yeah, so I play the Switch. Uh, I really, really love Mario Maker. I love playing random courses that people have made. I like the online versus mode, even though it kind of sucks, but I love it anyway. I've been playing that a lot on the Switch. Let's see, what else have I been playing on the Switch? I've been playing, uh, for a while I was playing a lot of Mario Kart 8. That was a good one. Um, I play some random modern games. Like I play a lot of modern indies. Uh, I like visual novels. I like Danganronpa is one of my favorites. I love that series. Um, I Anything Mario, like Odyssey, all the new Mario's. Breath of the Wild was amazing. Yeah, pretty much anything Nintendo I'm into.
Okay, interesting. Are you able to enjoy games without achievements since starting retro achievements?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I do wish Nintendo would implement an achievement system. I get that they want to do their own thing. They don't want to copy others. They need to innovate or whatever. But I still have fun playing games without achievements. Uh, I will say it's kind of hard to play. It's, hmm. I guess I could play modern games without achievements, but I never really play retro games without achievements anymore. Like I used to periodically go back to my childhood games and be like, "Oh, I feel like running through Super Mario 64. I'm going to do that again. I feel like playing Ocarina of Time. I'm going to do that again." And I feel like since discovering retro achievements, I don't really do that anymore. I didn't really notice this until I got to thinking about it just now. But yeah, I kind of don't really. And then there's that awkward middle ground, those games that are too new to be on RA, but too old to be modern. Like you have like the GameCube and Wii eras, stuff like that. I haven't really replayed those games in a long time, and I feel like achievements are something that would get me to replay those games. So it's kind of interesting. You've got me thinking about this now.
The more I think of it, Ben, the more I'm surprised about your answer there.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite Mario Party and why?
Ooh. My favorite Mario Party would have to be either 2 or 3. I think I like 3 a little bit more, and it's purely the nostalgia talking because 3 is the one that I grew up with. 3 is the one I have the most memories of. But I really like the boards in 3, and I really like the items in 3. 3 is more item focused than many of the other Mario parties, and I guess that makes it a little bit less newcomer friendly because you have a lot of items to learn, and then you can hold 3 items, and you're just getting tons of items, and it's very item centric. But I like 3 a lot. I think the mini games are solid. I think the boards are solid. It has Yoshi, so that's a plus. I mean, they all have Yoshi, but you know, it's I don't know. I really like 3. I think that's my answer.
What would you say is your favorite game with Yoshi in it?
Favorite game with Yoshi in it. So the way you phrase that question, it doesn't have necessarily have to be a Yoshi game. It's a game with Yoshi. Interesting. No, well, if I'm thinking about Yoshi games, the original Yoshi's Island is a classic. It's hard not to pick that one. Although I really liked Crafted World on Switch, and I've heard really good things about Woolly World, but I haven't actually played that one. But Yoshi's Island, the original, is probably my favorite Yoshi game. As far as any game featuring Yoshi, probably be either Galaxy 2 or Odyssey because those are just really solid platformers and they do so much so well. They're some of my all-time favorites and they have Yoshi.
Very interesting on this. Favorite type of pizza? Favorite pizza chain?
Ooh. Okay. Um I am a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to pizza. I tend to just get pepperoni pizza. I don't get any crazy toppings. I'm just a pepperoni guy. And that's just me. As far as favorite chain, the thing is, I don't usually get pizza from chains. I like the local places because the local places they make the best. They make it the best. It's just way better than the chain pizza. If I had to choose a chain, probably Pizza Hut or Round Table. One of those two would probably be my favorite. But those don't even compare to the local places. There's one local place here in particular that I love so much. That's where I usually get it.
Yeah, local pizza is definitely always seems to be of higher quality. I would 100% agree with you on that. What tips or advice would you give to people on retro achievements who have similar goals to you?
Um, I would say make a list. Uh, just I feel like something I do is I have all these thoughts of, oh, I want to play this game. Oh, I want to play this game. I want to play this game. I have all these games that I want to play, and then I tend to forget about them. So if you have a game that you want to play, write it down, keep a list. And if you ever get to a point where you don't know what you want to do, if you're just bored and nothing sounds fun, look at your list and something will probably pop out and be like, oh, yeah, I want to do that right now. That'll be a good time. So, yeah, make a list. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's something I started doing recently. It's something I wasn't doing for a long time, and I'm very glad that I'm finally doing it.
Okay, interesting there. If you could go back and give yourself any piece of advice from 5 years ago, what would it be? Well,
I think that I think I would tell myself to try to be more outgoing, try not to be so shy and anxious and stuck in your comfort zone, but really take those steps, do those things that make you uncomfortable, because a lot of my best life experiences have been because I stepped toward the discomfort, you know? I think it's easy to say, oh, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I'm too anxious, or I don't want to ask that girl out, or I don't want to take that risk. But I mean, honestly, it's you got to do these things. It's worth it. That's what I would tell myself for sure.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have any game that you would like to remaster because you like it that much?
Oh man, that's a good question. I've never really thought about that. Um, maybe. Well, I think I have a good answer for that. How about Super Mario World? Because Super Mario World is, I think it's one of the best sets on RA. It really showcases how you could have creative achievements that make you play a game in ways that you've never played it before. I've been playing Super Mario World my entire life, and I had so much fun with some of those challenge achievements, just like doing levels in crazy, unconventional ways to get the achievements. But the cool thing about Super Mario World is there are so many hacks of it on RA that it's like, you don't need to remaster the original. Just keep playing hacks. You'll never run out. So, yeah.
wow, Bendy, I'm surprised you mentioned Super Mario. I was expecting you to say Paper Mario there.
I thought of Paper Mario. I almost said Paper Mario.
But anyways, Bendy, this is your last question.
Okay, bring it.
What is the most difficult thing you have accomplished outside of RA? Video games related or otherwise?
Anything.
Yup.
I think the most difficult thing for me was graduating college as a math major. There were so many moments during that process where I thought to myself, this is insane. This is way too hard. What have I gotten myself into? But I persevered and I learned a lot and I actually somehow pulled it off in the end. So that was like my real life achievement. That was like a real life mastery. That was a real life badge. So yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. That was really challenging for me, but I'm really glad that I pulled it off in the end.
But I just want to say like thanks Bendy to for the interview. I mean that was like thank you for honestly. Do you have anything to say shoot there? I mean that was a blast.
No, that was really really fun and got a lot of interesting and unexpected answers from Bendy. So we appreciate that. Any final thoughts, Bendy?
This has been a pretty fun experience. I was expecting you guys to I don't know what I was expecting with the questions. I thought you guys were going to really drill deep and ask me some hard stuff, and you did. There were some questions I really had to think about there, some unexpected stuff for sure as well. And I don't know. I just think this is a fun little experiment for us to all get to know each other a little bit better, and for the audience listening at home to get to know each other a little bit more. But guys, this has been RAPodcast Know Your Hosts. I hope you guys enjoyed what you listened to. We're going to have 2 more episodes coming out focused on Draco and Shoot, so I encourage you to give those a shot as well. And until next time, we will see you then. Thank you so much for listening to RA Podcast. Bye.